two great corps, two amazing performances, one unforgettable night. 30 after 30, the most talked about.
And we'll just go through one by one and see if anyone has any final words or anything that they did last time. And then just kind of, if you have any questions for anyone in your group or another group, this is the time to do it. This will be the last time we all get together.
I just want to give a shout out to our West Coast friends that, I was completely into what you guys were doing, especially on finals night when it came down the way it was and you guys were right in front of us playing. I think everybody at that time was probably, in both drum lines, were probably playing way out of control, way up to here, but it was still awesome. I still enjoyed every second of it and appreciated what you guys do, your intensity. Always wanted to say that because I was digging what you guys were doing. I really, really enjoyed it and still have a lot of respect for your staff, your drum line, whoever recorded that 87 snare thing. I guess it was somebody put a recording on their chest or something that night. That's cool. You guys were playing. All of you guys were playing. So my hat is off to you, and I just wanted to share that. Loved it.
I tell you, the coolest thing about this whole thing, and props to you and Jonesy for putting this whole thing together. This has been, Jesus H, like 3 months in the making now already, I think. I think the coolest thing, obviously after the tenor session, Jonesy reached out and we reconnected for the first time in probably close to 30 years. It's just been really cool that I think I've watched more videos of 87, 83, 83 still I think is my favorite Garfield show ever for some reason. But and 84, I can't freaking find that online anymore. That was probably 83 or 84 were probably one of my two favorites. But it's just been really cool going back and watching, and kind of reliving my youth again and checking everything out and have watched a shit ton more SCV videos probably than of our own. Some of your warm-ups in parking lots and that kind of thing, and seeing, I think you were spot on, Rod, with the word intensity, man. It fucking not a smile to be had, and just, playing 3 inches below the head was really kind of cool to watch. And, I think there's a lot of similarities in the discipline, that us with probably more in line with you guys than were the Devils, who were, kind of, my opinion from not ever seeing them really, they seem a little bit more loose, kind of having a little bit more fun in rehearsals than we always did. We never had a freaking stand to put a drum on in our life. So I was certainly jealous about watching some of that stuff. But I think just just kind of the holy shit, maybe that was a cool part of my life. I should probably go pay a little more attention to that again. Has been really cool. It's been really, really cool.
Hey, I don't know a whole lot to say, but it's just an honor to be with you guys. You guys, you're all my heroes back in the day. I remember watching videos of Garfield and SEV back from 81 all the way up to when I was marching. And, you guys molded me as a human being as far as wanting to be a musician. So it's an honor to be here with you. And just to share this memory is very special for me. And, yeah, I still think we should have won, but I'm just kidding. Nah, you guys were better, for sure. That's all I got.
So I was the baby, but it was an honor to march my life dream at the Garfield Cadets, and obviously going up against Santa Clara, it was awesome. So everything to me in '87 was a blur. Like I said before, Maggie was in charge of making sure I was where I needed to be when I needed to be there. So, I'm just happy to be here, happy to see so many faces that I haven't seen in a while, especially Willie down there. But yeah, this is awesome. Thanks, James and Jones for putting this together and including me in this thing. So thanks.
Yeah, so I a lot of respect for you guys as well. I was in a smaller corps in '84, so I got to see West Side Story up close. One of my favorite shows. My brother marched in a smaller corps in '83, so Rocky Point Holiday is still one of my favorites. I really wish I would have gotten to see you guys more in '87. Of course, the respect is there. I never really got to see much of you, and but I appreciate your guys' persistence, and you just came up and didn't quit, and nipped us in the butt, and I applaud you for that. And I've told James and a few other people that 33 years ago, I think I learned more losing that night than anything. It could have been an undefeated year, and it could have felt a little too easy especially for a rookout like me. It was my last year to march, and I chose Santa Clara, and I was along for the ride. But losing that night and that year still being talked about, it is just an amazing thing. And all of you are a part of that, and so much respect. But I've taken so much of that year and applied it to family and jobs and teaching, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't trade that year for the world. So I so honored to meet all of you guys, and it was a great year.
Well, first off, happy Sunday to everybody here, and much love to everyone that's with us tonight and the rest that are not with us. So through word of mouth, please pass it along. I love everybody on both teams. I think I mentioned it in our last Zoom. It took both sides to make the story, to make the magic. And, for the last 33 years, I've probably watched the Santa Clara opener on video 10, 15 times a year, every year. I love your opener. I look to Vanguard as, elite. Coming back in '87, I remember DCI East coming in bridesmaid, and not feeling too bad about it. Actually accepting it and respecting it. We kept working, and the drumline, especially the battery, we had a work ethic that I think surpassed the rest of the corps that year. We were relentless, to the point I would even say sometimes inhuman. And I'm sure your team was also on the other side, but that's what made the magic. And like I said, much love for everybody here and those that aren't with us, because we all know the amount of work, the sweat, and forget about the tears, but the blood and the sweat, and in my case, a lot of blood on my drum heads. I'll never forget it till the day I die.
Extremely excited to be here. I'm probably a little bit shaky right now, just listening to all of you and talking to all of you and hearing all the wonderful discussion that we're having. Meeting some wonderful people that are on this video and competing against some very, very intense, intelligent, remarkable people with the Santa Clara Vanguard. And on both sides of the coasts, we had some incredible people. Obviously from Ralph and Tom, we were just blessed to have such talent to learn from, to teach us, to get us excited every morning to do some great stuff. And we pushed each other. I think we developed a ton of respect for each other. I wish, as somebody said, I could have seen more of you in '87. But I can guarantee you, I watched that video and listened to your music pretty intensely for the next several months after that summer of '87. There's no doubt. And you guys rocked it. You guys were really unbelievable. And on any given night, it could have been a different story. So I'm happy the way it ended, for sure, and thankful. But nonetheless, I think we all left it on the field. We gave it everything we possibly could have. And the rest is history.
You know, I was in Santa Clara in '83 when you guys won your first one. And I think, you know, even then, for me, it was like, it was competition, but it was also a lot of respect, right? Like, look at what we did. Some crazy activity where you put a bunch of people on a football field and somehow you can make art on that. And I think when I describe to my kids what Garfield brought to drum corps, it's this idea of artistry being part of this process. And all those great people that you mentioned, from Ralph to the horn arrangers and everyone else, I think as a musician now, I still have those lessons with me. And, you know, for me, the only other corps I could imagine marching would be Garfield. Just because of that level of excellence and the dedication, the musicality. You know, even now when I look back at other years, the losses don't hurt that much because the pride of listening to how we were able to make music and be connected to each other. I think that's really valuable. And today I was thinking about you know, how the work ethic of being in drum corps kind of stays with you. That's definitely been with me to this day. And, you know, the majority of the time we spend is together rehearsing, doing the stuff that we did on the field, which, you know, there was no alternate standard was acceptable other than excellence. So we always worked at that. And I always appreciated that about what we did and what Garfield did. So, you know, I love my experience in Santa Clara, and I love what you guys brought to it. And when I share drum corps with my kids, Garfield is something that I always feel like I'm obligated to show, because it meant something to me too, as a fan and even as a competitor. So I thank you all for that. And, you know, in some strange way, we've all touched each other's lives without knowing it. You know, so I think that's pretty special. And I think other than James, I think the rest of us are over the loss from '87. You can only control what you can control, right? Like, no one is writing down a number, and we're just all in it to kind of put our heart and soul on the line, and the chips fall where they fall.
You know, it's kind of interesting just sitting here looking at everybody. I think I have the pleasure of performing pretty much with like all of you guys, because I have the unique experience of being one of the first people to go from the West Coast to Garfield, because I actually aged out in '88 in Garfield, the last year of Garfield. So, and you know, the only regret I have is not being able to see Garfield in '87. I don't remember ever seeing them other than us leaving the field while you guys walk on, or vice versa, at one or two shows, and I'm like, that was basically it. And you know, then the following year, actually being able to perform in Garfield was, you know, a reverse mindset entirely, although it felt very comfortable, because, you know, the cultures are very similar as far as traditions and respect and how you carry yourself. But it was definitely an honor to be able to perform with the most of you guys.
Again.
Hey.
Again.
I think the thing that I think about when I think of '87 is really not so much the score. I think just that we had a great time that year. That was probably one of the best summers, I think, that I had in the Corps, just kind of having a good time with the people we were, you know, playing and marching together with. I think we worked hard, but I don't really ever remember it being like, you know, out of control or, you know, unpleasant hard. It was a good hard that year, I think. I guess one regret maybe is that we didn't get to hang out enough with other corps. You know, I guess you don't really think about that until you get older, but there's not really a lot of time to, you know, to hang out with people from the Vanguard or the Devils or any of the other corps. We're all like in our little pods. You know, you get on the bus at the end of the night and take off. You don't really know anybody else in the other corps. I think kids today are probably a lot better than than we were back in the day. But yeah, I mean, I remember it being a great time. I wish my seat partner wasn't such a slob that year.
You know, when I came away from drum corps, I would tell people about these things, and people didn't know about drum corps. They were like, it was the big deal. And then I would make them watch the videos, and then I would always make them watch both Santa Clara and the Cadets show, and they were like, "Holy crap, that was amazing!" And I was like, "Yeah, I wish I had a video of what happened after the show, after finals, because that just, that was mind blowing." And I tell everybody that story, they're like, "Wow, I can't believe it! Like gets that intense, and people feel it that strongly." And I'm like, "Yeah, watch the show, and you can see what makes people feel that strong." The depth that the depths of feeling that people in this activity have. So yeah, it's just great to be part of it with all of you, East and West Coast.
For the Santa Clara guys, it's great to actually talk to somebody from Santa Clara. I mean, it was, as everyone's been saying, it was a little bubble, and there was no time to communicate or interact with anybody. Now, I didn't really get to see, because you guys didn't come out that often, I think, to the East Coast. I may have seen you once or twice, but I really wish I could have seen the show in '87 after all that, especially at that intensity. We're all performing at that level. It would have been so great to see that, and that's one regret. I regret not seeing our own show. I regret not seeing your show. I'm known at work now for being a complete idiot, like for how I work ethic. And people tell me, my boss tells me, take time off, stop working so hard, Rick. Oh my God, you're making people look bad. And it's just, I'm sure a lot of us have a bit of that going on, or maybe a lot of that going on. And I think it's been one of the blessings and curses of doing the whole drum corps routine. I hope the activity moves on. I've been worried about the activity, all the stuff going on, and just, coronavirus pandemic. I really hope, kids, there's not a lot now, a lot of kids now. I was surprised back the Angels versus Demons, when Cadets did that. I forgot what year that was. They were out, and the kids came, they were here in Arizona where I live, and the kids were like on their phones, and they were social media, and they were doing chatting and things. And I thought that was really weird, because we didn't have any of that. I mean, like, I literally had a Walkman, like the waterproof yellow Walkman with the headsets. And, I was lucky to have batteries to make them work. But I can't imagine, now these kids, they have so many other things to do. And drum corps, as time's gone on, you just hope that they take some passion in something like that, because it was a really enriching activity.
Thank you, Michael Jones. And it's so nice meeting you, James, for putting this together. I met you guys, and you're really awesome. But the 20th, I wanted Jambra, Mookie, you did such a great job getting us all together for the 20th too. I mean, I don't want that to be forgotten, because I had a really good time then.
I was a kid from the South. I had no relationship, no trust with people of the white race. And Rob taught me that all white people were not evil. Basically, that's what I learned from him.
Wait a minute, what did I teach you?
The total opposite. When we got home, we relied on videotape, and my videotape broke right after I saw the Santa Clara show, and I didn't get to see the Cadets our show for about a week. And I went a whole week going, there was no way we were that good. There was no way we were good enough to even compete with that corps. So all props to you guys, man. And just to let you know, I respect and love you guys as well.
Hi, everybody. I also wanted to say the front of the bus sucks. I don't care where you mark.
Sitting next to John Corley, it doesn't.
This project has just been really cool, seeing old pitmates again in our interview, and I've actually met Maggie in person. I kind of almost feel like that's part of the reason some of us are here, because Maggie and I met on Facebook, and then she introduced me to Stuart Carter, and he and I started the alumni group. I love Garfield 87's show. Probably just as much as ours. My all-time favorite drum corps show ever is 84 Garfield, but I really love 87 Garfield a lot. The honest truth is that when we first aged out, I had a hard time watching it, and because I marched for 4 years, and it was just, it was the emotions of the time, but I totally don't even care anymore, and you guys were awesome, and you deserved it, and I've told James, and I think I'm even shown saying this on the teaser, that my only regret is that we didn't know each other then, I'm fine with it. It's great. Respect the hell out of you guys and your show. Love the book.
Thank you. Well, first, thank you, Martha, because without you, James and I could have never done this. So Martha put this all together. She emailed you guys. She kept you abreast of everything that was going on. She was a great help. You know, this has really been touching for me because I haven't seen a lot of my brothers and sisters. James refers to all you Santa Clara folks as his brothers and sisters, but we had some brothers and sisters over on the East Coast. As I've had some time to think about it as we've done these interviews, I knew it was special. I knew that 87 was special, but I didn't realize the close bond that we all had in doing it, and it all started. I think, Rod, you kind of really, in one of your interviews, you mentioned that you made it up in your mind. You went home back to school and you made it up in your mind that you were going to go all the way in 100%. And that energy, you spread that throughout the drum line to the point where it's like, fuck, Rod is running again, so we all gotta run, fuck, Rod is doing push-ups again. Somebody, really, would you stop him over there? It just, but that energy that you brought as the leader, as the section leader, it did spread throughout the drum line. And then I just remember it just kind of caught like fire, and it was an amazing season. I grew up with you guys. I grew up with Willie. Santa Clara, like all of us, Santa Clara was the core. And there's much respect for you guys at Santa Clara. You guys did an amazing job that night. I talk to James about it all the time, and he's like, yeah, but you guys won. It's easy for you to say that, and la, 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 la. But we meant it. I think if things had gone the other way, we would have packed up our drums, we would have played to you guys, and we would have left you guys the field, and it would have been done. So yeah, in the spirit of competition, but to my Garfield family, I love you guys tremendously. And to you Santa Clara guys, I'm glad you got over this. This is probably more therapy for James than for most of you guys as we've talked. But
absolutely,
Mike and I become James's therapist.
Oh yeah, yeah, Dr. Ruth. No, but in closing, and I'll shut up after this. In closing, it sucks that in what we did, it had to come down to some outsiders deciding that one was better or not as better as the other, because they were both amazing performances. And what we had to do to get to that level was, amazing. So both groups have to be proud. And like you said, Mike Giambra, both teams made the story, right? We're both here because we all made the story. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you for participating, and have a great life. We will never talk about 87 ever again.
And to thank you guys all for participating. It's been great. Yeah, I can't even say I've gotten over it because it's not.
We're just gonna punch him in the head until he's over it, or like he forgets it.
Yeah, I do appreciate MJ and Martha being my board and my therapist, because they've talked me down several times. And Needham, we went through a bunch of shit together that year. It was awesome. Ron, awesome. Eddie, great times. It was a weird year, and truthfully, I wish it would have gone the other way. But that being said, love the cadets. You guys did it, and that's what it is. And I really appreciate you guys participating in this, though.
Two great cores. Two amazing performances. One unforgettable night. 30 after 30. The most talked about.